Alrighty, hello everybody folks, and good morning. Welcome to a sort of year-end recap type of situation here, where we go and just kind of cover what we covered on the channel this year, specifically the stuff that came out this year, with a couple of slight exceptions that are kind of thrown on there due to justifications of coming out on a different platform or something, and I just wanted to talk about them. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do this in the form of a tier list here. So again, most of these are going to be strictly 2024 type releases. For example, just to sort of set up the tiers here to begin with, definitely starting off the mandatory experience pile, Unicorn Overlord. This isn't even a question. This is the triumphant return of the Ogre Battle formula. If you have not played this, if you like SRPGs whatsoever, do it. Get it. What are you doing here if you aren't? Easily one of the finest SRPGs to ever be released. An incredibly deep system. Really fun thing to play around with. The base difficulty is not exactly like, throw your parts in the wood chipper difficult, but that's what challenge runs are for. It's a very kind of relaxed type experience. It's got a good amount of depth to the builds that you can do, but it definitely expects you to do the standard RPG thing and absolutely steamroll things by the end. Though it does have easily one of the tougher like single unit final bosses of the genre for sure. Okay. Next up on the You Should Definitely Try pile, let's go ahead and start that off with Time Break Chronicles. A very, very cool experience that's kind of a question of if you mixed sort of middle of the single digits Final Fantasy along with FTL, like what would happen? So you're kind of warping from time period to time period, saving people from all over the place. So you might wind up with like a Marine from Vietnam next to a knight, next to a literal army of immortals that all take up a single party slot and just revive as soon as one's dead. It's a very, very creative game. You should definitely give that one a look at your soonest opportunity. I'm technically putting it slightly under mandatory because it's definitely going to be one of those for like the folks that really like those classic JRPGs. But yeah, very excellent game there. So we'll put it up in that section. Okay, next, let's see. For cool idea, give it a go. What do we want to put here? Let's put Few Nights More. So this was kind of like a vampire home defense type situation, which is definitely not a genre you hear about that often. But you're more or less sort of an immortal vampire lord kind of character, and you're trying to home alone your house from people that are trying to hunt you all the time. Fun little time killer there. Would definitely say it was definitely a bit early when I tried it. I'm sure they've added more stuff since then. But yeah, it was a pretty fun idea. I liked it. Kind of made me think of if somebody decided to turn Clue into a reverse strategy game of all things, which isn't exactly the best description, but whatever. Let's roll with it. All right, next with maybe if it's on sale, The Pit Infinity. We only barely touched upon this one, but this is personally one of my bigger disappointments. It can run on some systems, but even on the Steam Deck, it just chugs like a mofo. It's not even funny. The reason that I'm bringing this up is specifically because Sword of the Stars of the Pit is one of my favorite games ever. It's a weird roguelike that's kind of set in a sci-fi universe, and you're more or less trying to jury-rig your way through a victory all the time. There's definitely questionable design elements. It's one of those kind of guilty pleasure kind of games. Even the devs themselves more or less said, hey, look, this game is built to punish you. And The Pit Infinity is basically taking a way more basic version of that game and turning it into a first-person shooter, which on paper kind of makes it, in its best situation, feel like if you've ever watched a video of like Resident Evil 4 Remake in VR, that's what it feels like in its best case scenario. But at its worst, it is a just janky monstrosity. It's interesting though, so if it's on sale, go for it. But certainly just a weird game. Okay, there's technically only one game I wanted to put for the final category, and it's the one that actually made me obsessively go through Scarmond recently. Hell, I didn't even spend money on it. They sent me a code, and that's Jagged Alliance Rage. I'd heard good things. The concept seemed really interesting to me. And it was it's the only game in years that I just pretty much was nodding off, just trying to get through the thing. It's difficult to tell what the hell's going on. The visuals don't really stand out. It's all jungle environments, which yes is Jagged Alliance as a general thing, but like even when I was making fun of Jagged Alliance back in action, I still could tell what was going on. It's just difficult to tell what's even happening on the screen here. The controls are awkward. The weird mode switches just, I don't know. It does not. It completely didn't work for me whatsoever. Um, like just to give you an idea, like like 5 minutes into the dang thing, even going through a tutorial, a character takes just like one step. Apparently, it auto removed him from stealth. Immediately alerted to all the guards, but they turned sideways, and the second character, who wasn't in stealth, still got a stealth kill anyway because they approached the guy from the side, whereas the first one ended up going and ambushing him from the back, but technically, due to not being in stealth, it didn't count in that particular situation. It's just like, it felt super janky. So yeah, interesting concept, really hated playing it though. So we're gonna go ahead and put that one in. This one kind of sucks. Again, I really wanted to like it, but I just kind of just hated the few hours I had with it. So, from what I've heard, it doesn't necessarily get too much better. Anyway, okay, let's see. Let's just go by the list from here on out. So next for a cool idea, give it a go. This one's technically not out yet. I technically haven't covered it yet, just because I didn't have a chance to yet. But I actually have played the original of this quite a bit. This was a little bit of a surprise from a few weeks ago, but for anyone that's ever heard of an old DOS game called Kids of Karandao, it's getting a remake. The demo's on Steam. Go ahead and give it a bit of a look. If you've never heard of it before, it's kind of like South Park Stick of Truth decades before that game came out. It's one of these weird DOS games that I grew up with. The original had some truly vile sections, so I don't know how much of that they're going to bring back in the remake. But this was like a tiny studio making a tiny game. I don't even know if it's like one of these RPG Maker type experiences for this one, but it was just cool to see this on here. So looking forward to covering that more when I have a chance to. Obviously, holiday festivities did what they usually do, and let's go ahead and continue on here. Okay. Next up for You Should Definitely Try, Scarmond. Man, it's just never not fun to say that. So probably my favorite Game Boy-like that came out in a decently long time here. So yeah, it's one that I did a few videos on recently, and the basic premise is like Final Fantasy 1 but designed better. Again, just to completely steal my friend's words on that one. But yeah, no, it's... The idea is you build a custom party, you go through a, JRPG kind of experience there, but the map design is really good at looping in on itself. The class designs are really fun, the equipment designs are really fun, and the skills interact with each other in neat ways. And also, as of they're working on the post-game right now. As of when that post-game releases, it sounds like it'll be possible to stack 8 subclasses on somebody, potentially up to 9, and that is hilarious. So, let's go ahead and continue on then. But yeah, this is an easy recommendation. Again, one of those cheap indie, just absolute goodies up there. Okay, next one that I gotta put up for mandatory experience. You're listening to its soundtrack right now. My second favorite game of the year, right under Unicorn Overlord, is Kingsvein. And frankly, like, if we're talking on Steam Deck... If we're talking about like top games of the year on Steam Deck, Kingsvein would be number 1. Yes, I'm aware that other games exist. This game is incredible. It's kind of, the way I described it was kind of like if Ultima met Dark Souls, but also was a Final Fantasy Tactics, more or less. You build a custom party, you go into an area, and you're just given a vague objective of just like figure out what happened to this place, kind of establish some kind of contact with the local government there, and fix whatever the problem is. It's probably ghosts. If there's ghosts, kill the ghosts. So that's basically what happens. Your dude just like more or less kicks their way through a window, kills a thing possessed by a ghost, and then you just continue on from there. But everything is crazy interactive to the point that all of your combat skills are your progression items. So while there are technically progression items like, a different means of altering, there we go, that's what I'm looking for, altering the terrain and whatnot, most abilities are accomplishable through your skills and through your items that you either craft or find around, giving it this constant feeling of just like digging through the environment with your own hands, of just like going and altering the environment in whatever way you see fit, and sort of kludging together solutions to problems that maybe weren't even intentional. Again, one of the things that I found particularly fun was kind of going and scouting out areas, finding out where there were going to be battles and such, and just setting up a bunch of barricades using furniture I pulled out of houses, or solving puzzles that were meant to be solved by finding keys and backtracking and whatever else, and just like freezing the water to go walk across it, or going and collecting a bunch of boulders and turning it into a walkway and stuff. It's so beautifully interactive, and the world is very kind of like Souls-esque. There's a lot of circling back and kind of messing with different mechanics and whatever else, but it is a very mechanically diff experience. Plus, it's got a lot of interactivity that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like pretty much every NPC, there's basically no plot armor for anyone. So if you wanted to just go into an area and talk to somebody, you can. If you wanted to go into that area and just set the entire room on fire, you can. And it's not exactly the craziest narrative experience, but it is cool to see that the world actually does react differently. Like there was one case of one of the factions that I was sure was just affably evil and completely far gone, until my friend sent me a thing like, hey, look, like here's this ending I got for a speed run, and like sure enough, it's like, hey, here we managed to make peace with everybody. Here's how these people got along, and I'm just thinking like, huh. I threw these people off their own roof and then collected their body from a river. I guess that probably could have gone better, huh? So, anyways, yeah, great game. If you haven't tried it, you really should. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue on here. Okay, so probably, let's see, next for if it's, what do we want to put if it's on sale? I guess Fernageddon. I don't know if this actually goes on sale or whatever else. This is one that was sent to me recently. I don't actually know. It might just be a demo so far. But here's the thing. Cool idea in terms of, like, it's Battle Brothers, but you are the Doomsday event. I didn't realize how much of that stuff was made with AI, which kind of puts a bit of a wrinkle in things. Either way, cool concept. Interesting idea of using kind of like classic sort of JPEG landscapes and whatever else to get around. It's interesting. Maybe pick it up if it's on sale or something. I don't even know, again, if it's more than a demo at this point, but it's interesting. Okay, next for, let's see, cool idea, give it a go. And this, if I feel like I should put it higher, I'm specifically putting 63 days right here to cool idea, give it a go. Again, please bear in mind, this isn't like a relative thing of how much production quality or whatever else goes into any one of these. Because, like, 63 days has incredible production quality. It's an incredible game. Its difficulty will absolutely kick you in the nuts, though, so that's why I'm putting it right here. If you're okay with extreme difficulty, this is one of the finest strategy experience, like, stealth strategy things I've ever seen. And I love how every year apparently just has one incredible stealth strategy game that gets sent my way, and that's really fun. Like, this year it was 63 days, last year it was Spirited Thief, yeah, anyways, great game, really well modeled. Like a very, very hardcore type experience, just so you know. But it does allow you to kind of get creative with solving your problems, and you really don't need to feel bad about saves coming this one, because, yeah, it will thoroughly bend you over difficulty-wise. So we'll definitely put it there. Actually, same idea for Xenonauts 2, we're going to put into this category. Actually, maybe we'll put on sale. I love Xenonauts 2 personally, but it is definitely on the higher end of sort of indie-esque budgets here. Especially considering it technically is an improvement, like a direct improvement across the board on stuff like Xenonauts 1. It's technically not done yet. It's got a lot of really cool ideas. It's got a great air game. The 3D combat and stuff is fun. It's just not quite done yet, which, again, just kind of, it makes the price kind of feel a little bit weird, coming from somebody that happily paid that price. But anyway, yeah, great game though. If you like classic XCOM, you want to see it translated to modern type of experiences, that would be Xenonauts 2. I love this game to pieces. We'd still recommend waiting for when it's on sale, but again, I'm just a cheap bastard, so you do you. Alright, next for you should definitely give it a try, we have Crystal Project. We've mentioned this one quite a bit, again with the custom party JRPG type experience, but this time around it's more about exploration, and this is just probably one of the most relaxing experiences on this list by a pretty decent mile. So the idea is more or less if you've ever played what is that 3D dot game heroes back in the day. It's very similar. It's kind of a parody of a lot of old JRPG type of stuff, but a lot of very very chill exploration. Some of the just most calming landscapes I've seen in a bit, and considering it looks like Minecraft graphics half the time is really saying something. Again, love the shortcuts, love the simple jumping puzzles. It just feels nice. It's a very cozy game. Okay, next, for a cool idea, give it a go, which feels like it's going to be our main category, we've got Years of Division. Kind of like what would happen if you took Dungeons & Dragons mechanics and threw them into Fire Emblem. I loved it. So, yeah, would really like this one. I know that particular thing might not necessarily be for everybody, but, still, I really liked it. I mean, I kind of want to put it up here, truth be told. I really like the mechanical ideas there. There was somebody told me there was some negative mark on it. I don't remember. It was probably nothing. Anyway, so yeah, definitely would try that one at some point. Actually, same thing also for Last Spell. Really fun idea. It's basically like a permanent Last Stand scenario, in which you have about 3 units, depending on the map in question, and you are trying to hold off against infinite hordes until the end of the day, wherein the kind of wizard in the center of town does the spell thing, and you kind of just save that time, or save that area, more or less. The idea is that every town has to hold on until they can do this last spell thing to get rid of all the nonsense in the world. But anyways, really fun experience, really good game. A little bit hard to tell what's going on some of the times. Like, that's probably one of the main reasons I haven't covered it more, because I love playing it, but the UI does hurt my eyes a bit. So we'll put it over here. All right, next for mandatory experience, we've got Against the Storm. One of, like, as far as RTS type games, like, easily up there with Age of Empires 2 in terms of just solid balance quality and stuff like that. Premise is more or less that you are building settlements and attempting to make them survive against an infinite storm, just kind of building out into the mist over and over, and then just the calamities get worse and worse and worse. And if you love RTS games, but you don't like the actual combat part of it, that you don't want to necessarily worry about your formations as much as just kind of building redundant kind of safety systems into your network and dealing with whatever resources you've got, this is your type of game. It's somehow extremely stressful but very chill at the same time. It's like you see the thing coming from a mile away. It's if I were to think of a metaphor to describe Against the Storm in terms of the level of stress there, it's that one scene from Austin Powers with a steamroller kind of slowly approaching somebody over the course of a couple minutes. It's just like, you see it coming. If you didn't avoid it, that's on you, but it is gonna hit you pretty darn hard if you don't move. So, great game there. Actually, I think we'll move this maybe down to here just to even out the list a little bit. Anyway, alright, next, let's see. Okay, next for a cool idea, I almost want to put it into, if it's on sale, just... this feels like a weird thing to put together here. I almost feel like there needed to be another tier. Okay, whatever, let's move these ones to the top of here, because I do genuinely like Tenderfoot Tactics. It's a really good game. General idea is that you are a bunch of ghosts. Apparently, we're just all about the ghosts this year. But yeah, you're more or less like a bunch of goblin ghosts type deals, and you're trying to restore the world from some unknown calamity type situation. But it's a very introspective. Actually, no, this does get to go up here. Actually, maybe we'll do this. There we go. That's looking a bit more like it. Okay. But you're basically like fighting fights, dealing with bosses, whatever else, and trying to clear out different zones as you carry along. There's less random encounters as much as like set location-specific encounters that will chase you. With the idea being that every time you beat something, you expand the world a little bit more. But the cool thing about it is that every one of your fights also changes the world around you. So, like, use water spells, it causes water to appear on the ground. Use earth-based spells, it goes and transforms the geography of the area. Use more nature-based spells, makes trees pop up. Use fire, it sets all of them on fire. There's a lot of kind of like geomancy type shenanigans going on at all times during those fights, and just like something like Crystal Project, it leads to a very introspective kind of feeling. It's a very relaxing game. Even the boss fights, which have a tendency to be pretty difficult in some cases, did lead to a lot of just kind of meditative sort of vibes there. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and put that there. All right, next for mandatory experience, technically, there was another version of One Vision that came out. What a shocker. Tactics Ogre guy recommends Tactics Ogre games, and that's the only way he can justify it. Anyway, moving along. Let's see, next for should definitely try it, Norland. Again, covered this one pretty recently. General idea is that it's kind of like RimWorld except Vikings. It's just kind of, you're just building a community. You can go and have wars and whatever else, but personally, I was just having fun building my little peaceful community, going and supporting neighbors, just kind of helping them out when they had problems. And that kind of peaceful diplomacy is just really entertaining to me. So yeah, very cool to see the relationships between all your units and stuff. Just like seeing little rivalries and bickerings and whatever else, and then you just go and send them out to go hunting together, and then you get invaded in the middle of their hunting trip, and now all of a sudden everybody's getting real tied to each other as they kind of realize they need each other again. So yeah, I would say it's a solid, you should definitely try it if that's your thing kind of situation. Alright, next idea for you should definitely give it a go here is going to be Sword of Convaleria. Now, here's the thing. I know you're probably going to want me to mention the whole thing over the monetization mechanics. I will say this much. This game, to my mind, has, functionally speaking, been absolutely free, like, dozens of hours of entertainment, and I completely forgot that it even has monetization most of the time. Unlike most of this type, it's solidly done. They actually gave a shit, frankly. And I ended up hearing from somebody through the pipeline that supposedly news came out that it actually was a completed single-player game, and they just couldn't get somebody to publish it, and that's how they wound up with the extra kind of stuff tacked on top of it. But yeah, if you're just playing the Spirals mode, it's frankly like a mobile version of a Tactics Ogre or something like that. The story does genuinely split at a lot of points. It does it in really cool ways. The writing is generally pretty solid. The scenarios are fun. The difficulty is pretty legit. Yeah, it's good. It's not your standard phone game by any means whatsoever. It's the first time that I've ever been promised, like, oh no, it's totally an SRPG, but on phones, you guys. And that's actually been true. Like, this, I've been told that over and over and over and over and over for all kinds of various mobile games. This is the only time it's ever been true. So, that's my take on that whole thing. Anyway, let's see, probably should put Union Chronicle for you should definitely try. If you like Suikoden games, you know, give them a look at some point. It's very solidly made, got good music, got good designs, voice acting's pretty solid. But yeah, like if you've played a Suikoden game, it's a Suikoden game, but it's a new one. And unfortunately, the guy that was behind a lot of those classic Suikoden games passed on. So anyway, let's go ahead and continue on then. All right, last one for this list is going to be Kvark. I'm going to put this under... I think we'll put this next to Tenderfoot over here. Great game. Like, this is if you loved Half-Life, and you wanted more Half-Life, but you wanted Half-Life but Ukrainian now. That's basically what's going on here. You start off in the Chernobyl plant and then just kind of fight your way out of it, and then proceed on to other locations. It's got solid gunplay. It's very... if you crank up the difficulty, it will whoop your ass pretty good. It's got a lot of fun little environmental details and jokes and such, so very satisfying if you're looking for that classic type experience. But yeah, that would be most of the stuff that we kind of covered that was new releases this year. Not really the longest video in the world, as you do. This year definitely seemed to just sort of blaze on by, which is kind of unexpected there. Also, you know what? Hold on. We need to move some stuff because there's not enough space in the video. Okay. Let's see. What do we move down? Or do we just make the video bigger? Hang on. Let's see. Let's expand you out just a little bit. Come on. Expand out. There we go. Just kind of move this thing. And does that work? Kind of, sort of. Keep expanding. There we go. Kind of looks crappier, but there we go. That looks about right. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of about that. So, hope this was at least an entertaining recap. And, yeah, don't forget that these things exist. And definitely, those 4 up top, try them at your earliest convenience. Unicorn Overlord should not be missed. The only excuse you have to miss it is if you're PC only, in which case I feel your pain. Because, like, yeah, I can play it on Switch, but the kids have the Switches. As far as Kingsvein goes, like, it's just a thing of absolute beauty. Against the Storm, also absolutely amazing. One Vision, I have it with me at all times, in all situations, whether it's a PSP, a Vita, a phone, or the Steam Deck. I am never without my One Vision. Anyways, so that's about that. Y'all have yourselves a good one, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.